Okay, so without further ado, we are ready to roll, and we are going to have Ishwak join us onto the stage. So please welcome him.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to have you all here. My name is Ishwak Sharda, and I'm the co-founder of Tiffin Arca. Tiffin Arca is a logistics software platform that is designed for tiffin providers. A Tiffin Arca will able to provide these tiffin providers a system that's able to track their subscriptions, orders, and their performances, will allow their customers to make purchase on their platforms through credit card, debit card, e-transfer, or even Apple Pay. And next, it also gives an app that allows their delivery guys to follow and optimize routing, so reduce their costs. And lastly, it will give their customers an application through which they can see the marketplace and also make the purchases. Why did we make Tiffin Arca? So our goal is to empower these tiffin providers so that they can worry less about the logistics and the management of their meals and their deliveries, and just focus on getting high quality meals. And that also means that they can increase their customer base and therefore increase their revenue as well. So who are these tiffins? And who are these tiffin providers? A tiffin is an Asian version of bento box. So this bento box where you have a meal that consists in rice, you have curries, and sometimes even bread. And these meals will be delivered and also sold by these vendors called tiffin providers, who sell these meals in a price range between $200 to $400. And this is pretty convenient for people who have a busy lifestyles, such as professionals and students. Next, the main problem that we are trying to solve is the logistical one. We know that these tiffin providers don't have a platform, don't have a software that they can use to manage their logistics, which makes their life way harder. We know personally one of the tiffin providers who had shut down their services just because the customer base became so big that they were not able to manage the orders, and therefore they failed. And that's one of the reasons why we thought if they had this platform, they would be able to scale easily and efficiently. So for the launch, we have been working on Tiffin Arca for the last 8 months. We have an MVP that goes beyond just a platform. We have a fully functional software. Our initial pilot market is going to be Abbotsford with more than 20 tiffin providers. And for our pricing plan, we will be taking 20% from the tiffin providers and 5% from the customers as a service fee for our product, and with an average tiffin that can range around $250 per month. Nextly, we want to target around 5 to 6 tiffin providers in Abbotsford, which is going to bring around 500 customers. From those 500 customers, we will be able to have a net profit of estimated $18,000. Nextly, the money. Tiffin provider has the potential to grow to the entire Canada by starting just from Abbotsford. And most of our cost will go in the technical implementation. And that will include, for example, the software that we are using, the servers, the databases, and also the third-party packages that are provided by the other vendors. Nextly, the remaining cost is going to be the legal one. And by the legal, I mean we need legal entities that are going to help us draft the first agreements with these different providers so that we can have a clear terms and conditions with them, and also being transparent with all the services and the requirements that they need to provide. And lastly, we will use those fundings also to understand how to be legal in Canada and follow all the regulations. And this was Tiffin Provider, Tiffin Arca. Thank you very much.
My question is, in terms of the providers for the food, I would like you to expand a little more how you're going to seek those providers.
Sure. First of all, we are a logistical software that's going to be used by the tiffin providers. And these tipping providers are already established with proper licensing, and most of them are actually restaurants. So therefore, going through this way of having these services which are fully licensed, you can make sure that you are actually compliant with all the requirements that the BC government, but the entire Canada needs from these services.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the logistical aspect? So who does the food delivery and how are they connected to your company?
Sure. So what's going to happen is that initially we're going to use these tiffin providers drivers, because I have personally used these tiffin providers, and they have maybe 2 to 3 drivers who actually deliver every day, and therefore we're just going to launch the platform for them so that their drivers can use it as well. But in the future, we want to have our own network, and one of the reasons for having our own network of drivers is because we can make the entire system more efficient and therefore reduce cost for the tiffin providers who don't need to worry about their drivers, but also for us, because we can make algorithms for like proper routing so that the cost is minimal. Thank you.
So you said that the Tiffin providers are going to be restaurants. So is it similar to like Skip or DoorDash, or what differentiates your service from
Sure.
that type of service?
The main difference here is that a meal, which is around $250, is way cheaper than what you can get, for example, from services provided by DoorDash. The second thing is that our logistics software is mainly focused for these services, while Uber and Skip the Dishes are more general into the restaurant. And by that, I mean that some of these tiffin providers have custom requirements that maybe Uber or Skip the Dishes are not able to fulfill. I know personally that some of them allow their customers to choose what meals they want a week ahead, and therefore that's a software that's specific to their needs. And that's what Tiffin Arca is mainly into.
Just your price on there. So you mentioned it was 20% of the
Yes.
bill and then 5% for something else.
For the customer.
So I guess my question is, how does that compete with your competition? And how do you scale that as you grow to remain competitive?
So one of the reasons why we chose like that exact value, 20%, is because, first of all, Uber has a higher percentage than what we have. Secondly, we have that 5% for the customer, which means that that's also way less than what a normal customer would pay as a service fee from Uber or Skip the Dishes. Secondly, the way to expand is just to reach more tiffin providers. Right now, we're going to start with 20 tiffin providers only in Abbotsford. But then you can expand to Surrey, which has way more tiffin providers, around 50 of them. And then and then you can go to Vancouver, and then Alberta, and so on. You can expand in the entire BC. What we have here is just a software, and this software can be scaled to as many customers as we need.
What does success look like for this business in the next year?
That's a really nice question. And our vision for Tiffin Arca is to just not stay in Canada. Of course, we want to dominate the entire market in Canada and reach all the tiffin providers who belong in Canada. But these tiffin providers are also in US. There are a lot in UK, but also in Europe. And therefore, once we succeed in Canada, we can slowly start expanding in the US and after Europe and UK as well.
It seems like there's time for one more question. So can you tell us a little bit about your market research? You talk about tiffin providers, and you also use the term restaurants or vendors with licenses. How many of each have you spoken to, and how many of them have expressed an interest in joining your platform?
For sure. So one of the tiffin providers, the first one that we talked to, was the one that actually failed, because I was personally taking this tiffin provider and they were really good. So I was kind of shocked that within 2 months, like I stopped having this service. And when I found out that they had this logistical issue, that's one of the reasons we came in January, that okay, this is a software that might be important. The second thing is, sorry, can you repeat the last part again?
So use the terms restaurant,
Oh, yeah.
vendors with licenses,
Yes.
and tiffin providers. How many of each have you spoken to?
I have spoken to 2 more.